welcome to our last learning goal of Unit 7A, multiplication. So now we're taking all that stuff we learned and we are applying it, and Shadow decided to make parents for this one, so he missed you guys, I guess. So go ahead and make sure you write this down in your journal. And we are going to follow the same pattern. We'll give you an example, then you'll pause one, and then you'll have a few to try on your own. So these first ones are multiplication, story problems involving multiplication without decimals. So there are 27 cattle cars on today's train to Detroit. Each car holds 28 cows. How many cows are on the train? So in this one, we would multiply 27 times 28. And we're going to go through the shortcut method, but again, if you want to use the rectangle sections or rectangle rows, you can use whichever method you prefer. So 27 times 28, we start with our ones, so 7 times 8 is 56, and then I move in and multiply my ones times my tens, so 2 times 8 is 16, 16 plus 5 is 21, and then this one again, it would be like saying 8 times 0 is 8 plus 2, so we put our 2 down here. Now I have, I'm going to mark my place value with a 0 because I'm moving over. So 2 times 7 is 14, so I have my 1 up here, my new group, 14. And I multiply my tens, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 plus 1 is 5. And then the last step is adding them together. So I end up with 756 cows are on the train.
Yes.
So hopefully that is nothing that looks too challenging. And then this next one is a little wordier for you to try, but you're going to pause this one, I believe, and try it.
Yes. So, once again, pause, and then we'll go over it. And so here we have a roller coaster has 8 cars hooked together. Each car holds 4 people. So you want to think about that, and maybe this little visual over here will help you. The roller coaster has a total of 12 trains like this. Oh, there he is. How many total people could the roller coaster see if all the trains were full? So, once again, you've paused, and now you're going through. And hopefully what you realized is first, you had to think about how much like a car would hold. So 8 times 4 would equal 32 people, in each train, and then you have a total of 12. So you really have to multiply twice. Now you have to think about 12 times 32.
Yeah, and if you only said the answer was 32 and now you know that's different, you better pause again and try and solve this one.
Exactly. So once again, we're just going to go through the shortcut method. Just for sake of time, but if you have a different way, that's perfectly fine. So now we're going to do 2 times 2 equals 4, and now we're going to multiply going over to our tens place value. 2 times 1 equals 2. And then of course we want to add our 0 because we are moving over into the tens place value. So 3 times 2 equals 6. 3 times 1 equals 3.
He's like, isn't he?
He's not a lapdog, but you are sweet.
No.
Now, of course, you're going to add these two together, so you should have ended up with 384 and, of course, a label. Total people can ride on the full roller coaster.
Yeah. All right, now you get to try 2 on your own. So, number 1, a movie theater has 16 rows of seats with 36 seats in a row. So what is the total number of seats in the theater? And please show your work on that in whichever way you prefer. And number 2, a large package of toothpicks contains 425 toothpicks. If Carrie buys 24 packages, how many toothpicks will she have? So again, write it out, show your work, and solve it. And then come on back because we have a couple more to do with decimals.
Oh yes, we're not done quite yet.
Not yet.
Now we want to think about, okay, we could have some actual story problems that happened in real life, believe it or not, dealing with decimals. So here we have Jessie bought 13 aquariums. Wow, that's a lot of aquariums. Each holds 8 7/75 gallons of water, so not quite 9 gallons of water. How many gallons of water will they hold all together? So here you're going to want to think about, well, I have to multiply these 2 sets of numbers together, and then once again just showing you the shortcut method way. Now we have to solve this. So we have
Shadow.
we have 3 times 5 equals 15. So carried my 1 over here. We have 5 in
Such a
the
baby.
ones. 3 times 7 equals 21. And we have to add our 1 here. So we get, we're going to carry over this 2 and we get 22. And then 3 times 8 in our hundreds place value is 24. And we're going to add our 2, so we should get 26. And then, of course, add our 0, because now we're moving to the tens place value. And this one's a lot easier. 1 times 5 equals 5. 1 times 7 equals 7. 1 times 8 equals 8. Then, of course, we have to add those two together, and all together we should get...
That seemed like a
wow,
lot.
that's a lot of water.
Are we missing anything? I wonder.
Oh, well, of course, right now you're okay because we just wanted to deal with the numbers. Ignore that decimal. But now we have to go back and remember that decimal. So we have to think to ourselves, we have 2 place values after the decimal here. We need to make sure then that it matches. Oh, let's just pretend it went right up here.
Yeah, it was supposed to go there. Imagine it.
Imagine.
Use your
Right
imagination.
Imagination.
So our decimal would have to end up right here then. So doesn't this make more sense that we would have really 113 in something gallons of water, not like 11,000
Yeah, you know,
gallons
both of
of
us
water.
looked at it and went, whoa, that number
That
seems
is a
huge.
big
That can't
number.
be right. Yeah,
Yeah.
you always want to think when it comes to story problems about whether the answer actually makes sense.
Right, exactly.
Oh, common sense rears its ugly head. Okay, so he's still at the fish store, and he wants to buy 24 angelfish, and each angelfish costs $2.35. So what would the total cost be for the angelfish? So this is the time where you get to pause it and try it. So try and write it all out, solve it, and then come back and we'll give you the answer. Okay, so hopefully you realize you need to multiply 24 times $2.35, and our first step is to ignore the decimal completely. So we are going to go through and multiply. So I'll start with my 1s. 5 times 4 is 20, so I have new groups of 2. And my 0 down here. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 2, I don't want to forget that, is 14. So again, I have a new group, 14. Now I multiply over to the hundreds. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9. Now, since I'm moving over to my tens place here, I need to mark my spot with a 0. So 2 times 5 is 10, so I have my new group and my 0. 2 times 3 is 6, and then I got to add my 1 up here, so 7. And 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1, or no, not plus 1, that was the one before. You guys should cross that out. I forgot to cross it out on here. So 2 times 2 is 4, and then I just add them together, and we end up with 5,640. Those are some expensive fish.
Yikes.
Again, does that even make sense? Would you spend that much money on fish? No.
I hope not.
No. That'd be some fancy fish if you're spending that much money. So again, we don't want to forget the decimals. So over here we've got 2 spots over after the decimal in our question. So we need to have 2 spots. Oh, it worked that time.
Yay!
See? So pretty.
So cool.
So we have 2 spots after the decimal here, and that's where we put our decimal point in.
Very nice.
Oh,
And it's dollars.
label.
Label. All right, so of course we're gonna expect you to try some on your own as well. So label these in your notebook, numbers 3 and 4. Number 3, I'll just read it out for you at least. It says there are 3 goldfish in one of Jesse's aquariums. Gus is the smallest. He was only 98 hundredths of an ounce. Yes. Ella weighs 3 times as much as Gus. So what is Ella's weight? Think about what you're going to do there. Set up that problem and solve. And number 4, we have Otto weighs 7 times as much as Gus. So what is Otto's weight? So just remember that you're going to need to use the information from number 3 to answer number 4. You should be all set.
And that is all. That's all she wrote. We're done with multiplication.
Woohoo!
Yeah.